FBI Director Christopher Wray has announced that he is going to be ending his tenure as the FBI director earlier than the end of his 10-year term, which, again, is not surprising, as Donald Trump has said he wants Kash Patel to head up the FBI in the new administration.
That is interesting. One day after the Inspector General's report showed that the FBI was secretly spying on Kash Patel, the new FBI director, all of a sudden, Christopher Wray decides to resign. We're going to break this down. We're going to see what Kash Patel has to say about it. We're going to see also some more information about Kash Patel being spied on by the FBI. And we're going to see some clips of Christopher Wray and see why he deserves to be fired instead of just resign, but he's saving his own butt. It's SPYING here. If you guys enjoy the videos, consider subscribing. Let's go.
Well, John, Christopher Wray, the FBI director, is making this announcement right now in an all-staff town hall with thousands of FBI employees across the country. He says now is his time to go. As you mentioned, he has a 10-year term. All FBI directors do. He was 7 years into his 10-year term, and realistically, he had two options. Wait to be fired by President-elect Donald Trump because Trump announced Kash Patel would take over, or bow out before. He has chosen to bow out before. Wray is a former Republican lawyer, former DOJ prosecutor here in Washington, D.C., hired by Trump in 2017 after Trump fired James Comey after the entire Russia investigation probe. And Wray pretty much stayed out of the headlines as much as he could, at least. But in 2022, former President Trump became increasingly angry when the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago during the classified documents investigation. Of course, that was ordered by Attorney General Merrick Garland, who oversees the Justice Department, not Christopher Wray. But nonetheless, Christopher Wray saw the future and saw that it is his time to go. So he will be stepping down as Kash Patel, the upcoming FBI director, if confirmed, is on Capitol Hill.
What did Kash Patel have to say about this?
We look forward to a very smooth transition at the FBI, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
So why is this happening now? Well, one, Christopher Wray does not want to get fired by Trump. It's way better if you can just resign than be fired by him. But also, literally a few days ago, or a day ago, something like that, the FBI, the DOJ, secretly obtained records of Kash Patel, lawmakers, staffers, and media in leak investigations. And this comes from the Department of Justice, Office of the Inspector General, a whole report. Now, what exactly were they doing, spying around on Kash Patel? Well, let's hear directly from him.
I'll give you a perfect example. Who cares if you've ever followed Russiagate or any of this other stuff about the deep state? Chris Wray, the director of the FBI, and Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General then of the DOJ, were tasked with helping us at Congress, where I ran the Russiagate investigation, to expose Russiagate. We went to them and said, look, you guys didn't do this. Help us expose it. And they both doubled down. You know what they did? They launched an investigation against me, the senior congressional investigator for Russiagate on the House Intelligence Committee, and 6 other staffers. They used grand jury subpoenas to get my personal information, my banking information, my emails, my cell phone information, and everything else. I didn't find out till 5 years later when Google called me and said, hey, our 5-year notification has lapsed. We can now tell you the DOJ surveilled you. And we had to turn over documents. So that became that we exploded that into a federal lawsuit that's still ongoing in the DOJ and FBI. But those two guys.
Hold on. What? So Google informed you that you're being surveilled 5 years after the investigation started.
Right.
I mean, what more did they tell you?
They're not allowed to say anything, but that you can be informed now since it's 5 years later. So as a former national security prosecutor, I know you don't just go to Google. You go to every provider. You go to all the telecoms. You go to the bank. You go to everybody. If you're going to run an investigation, that's what you do. But these two guys who were running the FBI and DOJ sat in a room with the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee and lied to our faces. They threatened to investigate us, which was bad enough, right? They actually did it. And then these two guys would get exposed, for Rod Rosenstein specifically, for signing a FISA that was totally bogus. And we've caught Chris Wray lying time and time again as the director of the FBI. put these guys over here for a second. Gina Haspel, who was the director of the CIA, was London station chief in England when Russiagate kicked off. Under the rule of law in America, if you want the Federal Bureau of Investigation to launch an investigation overseas, you have to get permission from the head intel rep. In England, it's the the station chief. So she allowed Russiagate to occur on British soil, where there was a barroom operation to try to record some nub into spilling the beans on Donald Trump. And they would use that to launch the whole Russiagate offensive. Gina Haspel would later become Trump's CIA director. And then when these guys got out of the administration, do you know where Gina Haspel and Rod Rosenstein work today?
Where?
At Christopher Wray's old law firm as senior named partners, making 7 and 8 figures.
Okay, let's look into just some of what he said. I know that was a lot of names, a lot of things. The old law firm where Christopher Wray worked before he was the FBI director is King and Spalding. He said that Rod Rosenstein works there as a senior partner making 7 figures. That's Rod Rosenstein, who's now listed as one of the people under King and Spalding, this law firm, right? And he is listed as partner right here. See this? Okay. I think with law firms, you pay in to be a partner and then you get all this money. I don't know how it really works, but basically a ton of money. Let's go back to people. Now let's look for Gina, the other one she was talking about. Gina Haspel. She is considered a senior national security advisor. So it doesn't say partner right here, but maybe she's making a ton of money. So these two people, Rod Rosenstein and her, fell in line with what they wanted to do with Russiagate, which is find some dirt on Trump and his team, start this whole investigation, try to show that he worked with Russia to get elected. They fall in line, and how ironic that Christopher Wray, who used to work there, leaves. They get kicked out of Trump's administration, and they immediately get jobs at Christopher Wray's old office, and Christopher Wray is now fired because of how he has functioned. Pretty interesting. Now, how has Christopher Wray functioned? What has he said? Where has he been seen like he's lying? Let's take a look. Here's Matt Gaetz reading some of Hunter Biden's WhatsApp messages.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
Director Wray.
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the
protecting
question
anyone
about whether or not
politically.
that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Yes, that's Christopher Wray. Didn't want to answer questions about Hunter Biden's shakedown, which was obvious, and just based on the messages and based on everything else we know. So that's one clip that really encapsulates how we've seen him handle certain things. Now, why is Kash Patel a good pick for the FBI and so much different than Christopher Wray? Let's hear what he just says about the Ukraine war and the money behind it.
I've asked this Congress to investigate where has this money gone. The American people are owed that answer because it's our money. It's our taxpayer dollars.
And there's a lot of really good reason to be concerned because, the Ukraine was known as a, place of corruption, a place for money laundering.
Yeah. It's not like we sent $1 billion, as if that was even a small number to begin with, right? We've sent 100 times that to one country. I don't know how this Congress is allowed to get away with it. And Zelensky is out there. He went on the world stage and said Russia fired a rocket into Poland, which would literally be an act of war. Well, it turned out that Russia fired no such rocket. It turned out that the rocket came from the Ukraine and was fired into Poland.
And it was a mistake, basically.
if Zelensky's going to go out there and beg the world for more money and come to the U.S. and sit in the well of our Congress and say, we want more money, and then call and demand the new Speaker of the House provide more and more money, and call Mitch McConnell and say, we need more and more machinery, he needs to be more prepared about global statements that bring us to the precipice of war than doing what he did last fall with this missile attack, or this missile launch, I should say. And we just can't have full faith and trust by giving a leader $100 billion and having him say, I'm not telling you where the money went.
That's just one clip about why Kash Patel keeps it real and why he seems like he might not be touched by the corrupt nature of the FBI, especially since he worked as a House investigator with the Russiagate thing. And if he's willing to raise these questions, who knows what stuff he might shake up when he's the FBI director. But this point also shows you, yes, okay, we didn't just send $100 billion to Ukraine. We sent a lot of aid in military items and weaponry. But if that doesn't show you that Zelensky just wants the war to keep going, he wants everyone to continue to give more and more money, especially when Ukraine was known as one of the more corrupt countries a few years ago, and is connected to the Hunter Biden laptop thing where he was trying to get bribes in order to get connections to his father. If Zelensky's willing to say publicly that Russia struck Poland when it was actually a Ukraine misfire that went over into Poland, and he's trying to leverage that to get money, how can we trust this guy? And thankfully we have someone like Kash Patel who is pointing that out. And he'll be in office soon because Mr. Christopher Wray said, I gotta go before I get fired. It's SPYING here. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing or supporting me with my YouTube membership by hitting the join button down below. Here's some other videos in case you want to watch, and I'll see you in the next one.